Hello and welcome back. My name is Tuxedo Ian, and we are getting back to our playthrough of Book of Hours. And I just wanted to kind of show off this lovely piece of artwork that Weather Factory has on their website to kind of show off what the librarian shelves must look like after quite a while. And it has been quite a week here. We got several inches of snow down here, which we have not had in quite a while and kind of shut everything down for a while, but we're getting back to normal now. So, with that being said, let's jump right back into the game, and I'm sure we'll be seeing some snow in the game before too much longer once it gets to wintertime, but we are still in summer, so here we go. Alright, we are back here at Hush House. It is the beginning of summer, coming up on the end of the first day. We've had our first visitor. We've started the affair of the forgivable debt, where a couple of reckoner mobs are trading in various stolen years and they're fighting amongst each other, but I'm sure we'll figure what's going on with that later. We got a bronze spintria for helping out with our visitors test to figure out what's going on in Karnus. Bronze spintria. Occult treasures are purchased with occult coins. Spintriae. Bronze spintriae usually display the act of shaping on their reverse side. Now, this has an aspect of forge, but we won't really be doing anything with that. It does have the ability of ductile, where we could take two bronze spintria and take them to a workbench to turn it into bronze wire, but for right now, we kind of don't really have a whole lot to work with, so we're not going to be doing that. And it has a tally value of 2, the consensus currency of the invisible world, wildly unofficial, eternally consistent. So basically these go up to 5, and then once you get to 5, it starts a new coin, and you can pick up something else. And just because we can, well, once we start a new day, I'll show you something here, because that's not the only coin that's waiting for us here in the house. We can take this delightful repose, placed by the Curie of the Isle to allow a rest before an ascent, or after a descent. And we can investigate this. We'll take a look at it with our core and investigate the object. You won't use up or consume it by doing this. And we have finished reading this book, Lady Eva's Repose, a meditation on the drowning of Lady Eva de Wolf and her 2 grandchildren, written in the years when the estate was abandoned by Father Theo, one of the de Wolf family once the de Wolf family chaplain, one of the few to remain on the Isle in those desolate years. There are many stories of her heritage, so many rumors of her persistence. We might easily choose to believe that the grand twins escaped, even that they yet live beyond the sea. Father Theo has come to believe that Eva sought an escape from a family curse, the pale heritage of Halfran her forebear, or the curse placed upon the line by the cunning man Red William in the time of Hendrik de Wolf. He had begun by believing neither curse was real, but as the book concludes, he decides that he is determined to believe in them, rather than accept the 3 deaths as a futile tragedy. One does not so easily escape the long necessity of faith, he concludes. And from this, we have learned a little bit more about rhyme and remembrance, and we have earned a memory of regret. So what we will do, we will take the book and we will mark it with regret so we can remember that that's what it gives us. And I remind you, everybody, that this is a mod that I have installed. Just makes it a little easier to keep books that you've read cataloged and remember what you get out of them. And we'll put our read books up here for now. So let's see, what do we have in stock? We have a scale 4, a edge 6, heart 8, but it's written in Kilisimi. We won't be reading that for a while. Moth 10, lantern 4. We might be able to get to that pretty quick. Sky 6, lantern 6. Again, we might be able to get to that one. Edge 6, forge 6, lantern 8. And then over here we have a heart 8, sky 4, lantern 14. We definitely won't be getting to that one anytime soon, not without some help. knock 4, and sky 6. Well, we do have a little bit of knock from our shaft, but we need 2 more in order to do that. And look at that, we have an occult scrap that gives us 2 more. So what we can do is once this chair finishes considering, we will start reading Traveling at Night Volume 1, using our occult scrap that we got for marking down the address of the person who came to talk to us, Lieutenant Arthur Moore. And while we're at them, let's see what we have. We have Heart 6 and Sky 6 to open up the reeking chamber. The room reeks like a rotting reptile. The curtains ripple restlessly with the watchful presences that Van Loren left behind. Perhaps I can find someone to sing them to sleep. We have the ruined kitchen, which needs forge or sky. We have a smoking room, which needs forge or lantern. The grand ascent, which needs some grail, knock, nectar, or winter. And we have the weed-choked garden, which needs heart or nectar. Plus we have the room over here, the walled garden, which needs edge or nectar. I think for right now, our priority is going to be getting into the smoking room, especially because we have this memory of regret, which gives us another forge. And we have our metal, which also gives us forge. So what we can do, we can go and get Denzel on our side. Denzel will talk about practical matters, although he prefers to sit in silence. A shilling will buy his help for a day. If you give him occult coinage, he will perform the service of division instead. So I could give him this bronze spentria, and he would return to me 2 iron spentria, which are the 1-value coins, but there's really no need to do that right now. So what we will do, we will throw him our half crown. What do you need? And while we are doing that, we will take we need our shaft, we need our metal. We'll go ahead and use our Faust to help with letters at the Sweet Bones. I could offer help with correspondence and arithmetic. There's no school in Brankrug, and not everyone here knows their letters. Get that started and get us some another 6 pence. And so we have Denzel's assistance now. So the first thing we'll do is talk to him about our metal. And we'll speak to Denzel. He might even reply. Add something to enhance Denzel's effectiveness for the day, or just talk. Unlike some assistants, Denzel can make use of metal. Well, we're going to use our metal to boost his force and his forge and edge with inspiration and determination. What's this down the back of the cushion? A small and unexpected treasure. House folklore claims that Ambrose Westcott suffered his final apoplexy on this sofa after a particularly hasty trample up and down the stairs to argue with visiting priests. And we found another bronze spentria. So we can combine that with the one we have, and it becomes a silver spentria. Occult treasures purchased with occult coins, spentria. Silver spentria are more valuable and usually display scenes of debauchery on their reverse side. It has Grail 4, it is ductile, and it has Tally 4. Again, the Grail 4 isn't really noticeable because we're never ever going to use it for anything that would require aspect. It is simply for purchasing occult items, such as books. And while I am thinking about it, we have Denzel on our side that we're talking to, but we also have this area down here at the beach that needs to be opened up. So we will bring Mr. Kill in to do that because he can do it without any help. Mr. Kill can always spare a few hours to help a friend. And we will just go ahead and put him to work there. Brankrug is a tidal island. At low tide, you could walk there, though you probably shouldn't. You need 2 moon or 2 winter, which we have with Mr. Kill. So we'll go ahead and open him up, and that reveals us 2 new areas we can work with. The Crow Cross Sands, where we can go beachcombing. Take a long walk along the ocean side. If I know what to look for, I might find something the ocean has forsaken. I would have to use either my Fet or my Trist, and I could use any of these skills that have Heart, Moon, or Rose in order to find something. I don't really need to do that right now. I might do that in the future, but we'll leave that as an option. We also have the Sea's Edge. The sea is always hungry. The sea never sleeps. The sea accepts offerings. Discard objects here, release beasts, or go for a swim. We could use our health if it was not fatigued to go for a swim here, but we don't really need to at the moment because we don't have any towels to dry off with. We'll find those shortly. So we will continue on talking to talking to Denzel over here and getting his help. And while we are doing that, let's see. So knock. I believe this does. Nope, that one does not do knock. Neither does that one. So what we are going to have to do is we are going to have to use our consider verb for this. And we can use our occult scrap and our shaft to open a gate flung wide. I'm a match for this book. And just as an example, if you're just doing not enough, it is knock a crack in the seal. But once we provide enough, it becomes a gate flung wide because knock is all about the crossing of barriers and the opening of doors, even those that probably should have remained closed. So we'll go ahead and start reading that book. And that will take us 2 minutes of our day. Our course is fixed. And then we can give him this memory regret, which will give him up to 5 forge, so that we can open this room up here. A tarnished brass sign on the door clearly reads, Smoking Room. Rags of very old smoke sway restlessly, hazing the room beyond what the remains of the precautions Van Loren once placed on it. And yet, still no signs of a fire. So I wonder where the fire could have been. We've helped with our with letters. Earned some 6 pence. And we could recharge one of our health here, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use some of this threepence we have to rest and recover. I'm sitting on the bench outside the Sweet Bones, eating crumbly cheese and nettle wrappings and good black rye bread, soaking up the sun. Memories don't last long outside books, but it's made a difference for the day. Now, we could put him to work immediately, but let's talk to him for a minute and see if he can give us a memory that might help. Because in order to advance anything, rhyme and remembrance, we would need 3 memories in order to get to do anything with it, which we don't have right now. We do have the clouds, which would work, but for right now, we could advance Pearl and Tide, or we could advance Inks of Containment as well. I think what we're going to do is once we finish reading this book, we'll use this these clouds and this memory of rhyme and remembrance to advance Pearl and Tide a little bit. That way we get a little bit more rose power, because I have a feeling we're going to need some, and a little bit more moon. We have 2 winter with our Inks of Containment. We have 3 winter. We have 4 winter with rhyme and remembrance. But Pearl and Tide will give us another piece of rose that we can use. And we have another book, the reading room desk over here, which we can use our Trist to catalog a nocturnal period book from around the turn of the century. Books from this period are almost never contaminated. They can be, but it's very, very rare for you to find one that's contaminated. Traveling Dream Journals of Christopher Leolopoli, sometimes called the only readable occultist, literate, entertaining, and bewildering. The wood lies outside the walls of the Mansus. As any student of the histories knows, the Mansus has no walls. This is part of the inherent contradiction of the world of the secret histories, is that things exist even when they should logically not exist, and since the Mansus lies outside of reality in the world of dreams, it can break reality and causality in several important ways. Okay, we've got a memory of hindsight. He does a lot with silence, this man. And we'll give him one more talk while we're waiting for this, because that actually does help us out. We could advance, if we get one more winter memory or moon memory, we could advance rhyme and remembrance. But I'm still thinking I'm going to use that lesson to get Pearl and Tide. Ooh. a nocturnal period book. We have located Singlefoot Songs. Father Stanislav John Schaller, priest and diplomat, writes of his time on the slopes of Huashen, near to the grove of the green immortals, but never too near. Has a mystery of scale 6, which is not all that hard, but it might be a while before we can get to it, and will teach us the subject of hill and hollow, the old ways of the hill children and the gods from stone, old paths, old secrets, the songs that still echo beneath the earth. This is also a very useful book, which we will see once I have actually managed to read it, because it gives us a memory that is otherwise fairly hard to find and must either be crafted or found from a book that you require another language to read. Now, I could use this vial of Hound's Gall to read it, but I'm not in that much of a hurry to use up something that's going to be fairly irreplaceable for a long time, so we're going to just leave that as is for now. And our health is better now. So we could use our health to catalog something else, which, I think we will do. We will catalog this last nocturnal period book here. And while we're doing that, is there anything else we can do? No, so I think what we'll do is we will come and use our tryst and rest up at the Sweet Bones. Because we know we can use our tryst at this desk. He does a lot with silence, this man. We have a memory of fear, scale and edge. Not necessarily the worst combo, but might be useful. And, I think it's time we'll go ahead and put him to work. And we'll go ahead and open this other room, which, as you can see, has several more books on the shelves, although what you see through the image isn't exactly what we'll get in there, but it is another book room. Just about finished reading Traveling at Night, Volume 1. Elopole describes how he came to make repeated visits to a dream wood via what he calls silver dreams. Trying to think your way to the wood, he explains, is like thinking your way to being in love. But I did find a secret which helped. We've used up our memory. Our shaft is exhausted. We have memory impulse, which gives us moth and nectar. And we have learned lessons on the edicts liminal. Before we do anything else, we will mark Traveling at Night with memory impulse, so we can remember that that's what it gives us. And we will go ahead and learn edicts liminal, because we have the ability to. And we found an investigation of a foundered country, subtitled Recordings from the Atlantic Coast. This is a mystery 4, but it is a phonograph record, so we will have to find a phonograph in order to read this book. A labyrinth of eager grooves awaits the stylus, readable in only the broadest sense. Find a phonograph to play this. So it's fairly easy to read, but we still have to find the place where we can actually do anything with it. And for now, let's see, so we're working on this. And we can use, once that's done, we can use our FET, and we can use Pearl and Tide along with our clouds to level up Pearl and Tide by 1 level. Since Pearl and Tide has the moon aspect, as does Rhyme and Remembrance, we can use the moon aspect to level up something of the same aspect. It does not have to be the lesson of that thing. And Rhyme and Remembrance is really not all that useful, so we're not going to push it farther past 3. Another leaf on the Tree of Wisdoms, Edicts Liminal, gives us Knock and 2 Moth, our first Moth skill. Well, we have Transformations Liberations, which is Moth 1. This gives us Moth 2. We'll be using that quite a lot in the later part of the game. Our tryst is better now. So since it's better, we'll go ahead and use it to catalog a baronial book from the 1500s to the 1700s. and get that started. And we will come out with Pearl and Tide. We will use the clouds, Rhyme and Remembrance, and Fet, because Pearl and Tide is moon or rose, and Fet has the rose aspect we need. There's always more to learn. Improve this skill to level 2. This will increase its aspects, which will help with crafting and make it suitable for higher branches in the Tree of Wisdom. So that will take us 30 seconds, and that'll also finish filling up our board here. Let's see, we do have some time left, so we are going to go ahead and rest our shaft. That way we can get one more book cataloging in before the day is done. And we open a new room. We've opened the Westcott room. By God, sir, we shall have no cigars in the library, and we shall have no house without a smoking room. Dr. Ambrose Westcott, 1734 to 1797. And in this room we have 5 books from the Curia period. We'll go ahead and group those together down here with the ones that we've already found. We have 2 more books from the Solar period. We'll pop those down here with the rest. 2 more baronial books. And we've also found a bust of Ambrose Westcott. This bust is cast in brass. Well, what we know already is that he was the first librarian. I forget where we saw that information, but what we can do is we can come in here and we can pop his bust right into the first librarian slot. A niche with a plaque, "Who often purified, but was not often pure." Other things we've got in this room. We have a small candlestick, Simple Elegance, which gives us lantern and forge. A glass of Domaine Raveline. The Ravelines abandoned their lands, and yet someone is still making this wine, which has scale and grail. Plus, it's also a beverage and a restorative, which we can use to sleep and rest a soul fragment at our bed. The Cyprian's Lamp, a curio brought back from one of Serena Blackwood's trips to Greece, has some grail. A tall candlestick, Elegant Simplicity, just straight up lantern. Small candlestick, Simple Elegance, forge and lantern. A cranial Chotsky. We all of us come to this condition in the end, but not all of us are fortunate enough to be lovingly buffed and fixed carefully to a stylish wooden stand. How cute. And that is a winter object. We also have a painting of the Mansus. There have been many attempts to depict the House of the Sun. This, by the visionary painter known only as the Magyat, is the best known. It's signed and dated. If it really is the original, it must count as one of the great treasures of the house. It has 2 knock, 2 lantern, and 2 moth. It's some wall art, which we can use sometimes to read a book if it rolls the right numbers. We also have some more hunting trophies from Ambrose Westcott. We have Philemon, Tavish, and Finian. We have a quire of paper. We have some Ashertine. Lies written in Ashertine tend to fade or be misspelt. It's legible in the dark. An ink of revelation. This is one of the more powerful inks in the game, and it's very nice to have because, as you can see, it gives us Lantern 6, which we could use to read some of those heavy lantern books. We won't be using it for now, though. We'll be holding on to it. We'll just stick it over here on the fireplace for now. We have a strategist lamp, purchased by Governor Collars from a complicated general after the Great War, which gives us some edge. A vase of carnations with some heart and some nectar, and it is a flower, the hair of a plant. And we have a new desk, the Desk Ambrose. Ambrose did most of his work downstairs in the foundry and kitchen, or upstairs in the laboratory that later became the Flood Gallery. But it was at this desk that he composed The Temptations of Architecture and wrote long cross letters to the Times about the flaws of the British Constitution. This desk gives us the ability to read books with forge, knock, lantern, or sky, which we will be using quite a lot. We also have Ambrose's favorite chair, somewhat pocked with cigar burns, and an inviting footstool. How many home from the storm propped their feet and gazed into the fire? The new book room that has been unveiled is the web-snared room. The cobwebs here are thick as ivy, clinging to the walls and furniture. Black-furred bodies rustle stickily. Van Loren was creative here. Many of the gold spiders are probably only seemings, but the webs are real, and it'll be long and tiresome work cleaning away the webs. For this, we will need 6 heart, 6 rose, or 6 sky. So this is probably going to be a task for Mrs. Kill because she gives us heart, but we're going to need some assistance to get her to 6 for that. I think our next goal is probably going to try and be opening up the Grand Ascent on the 2nd floor because, again, that's only 4 grail, which we can get to fairly easily with Mrs. Kill. So we'll go ahead and finish out the day here and see what new treasures we found. 40 seconds on the Sweet Bones. We'll go ahead and just speed time up because we have nothing else to do. The skill is now level 2. Its power aspects have increased, so it's now at Moon 2 and Rose 3 for helping us out. And it can be assigned to Bosk or Nyctodromy, but we're not going to be assigning anything just yet because we have other things we need to assign first. Baronial Period Book. We have found On Resonance, Experiments in Ithistry by the Sky Smith, Everett Vincent. 6 sky. And teaches us about bells and brasseries. That resonance which lingers from the hammer's touch. Again, not much we can really do with that. We're still a little shy on getting to 6, but we'll stick it up here on our shelf for now. And we should be just about done in the Sweet Bones. Yep, another few seconds. And our shaft is back. So we have one more book we can catalog. So we will catalog one of these Curia books here and see what we can find. The Encircling Tantra. The explorer and entrepreneur T. Everett Duplantis once attempted to plunder the temple where this text was held. His fate is recorded in an appendix. It's scale 6, written in Sanskrit, which luckily we're able to read. We've already been through that. Horns and Ivories, the Hunter, the Way, and Their Memories. So we will stick that up on our shelf. And again, we could read that using the Hound's Gall that we have here, but that's a item that will be fairly difficult to replace until much later in the game because we don't have the items needed to make it. So we will hold off on that for now. And I think with that, we will go ahead and call it a day. We will just go ahead and let the day finish itself out here because we have nothing else we can do at the moment. And let's see what our day weather for tomorrow is going to be. Some more clouds. So again, not a whole lot we can do, but I think for now what we'll get started is we will begin with cataloging a couple of these books. Catalog a baronial period book there, and we will use our shaft to catalog a Curia period book here. We'll come over here and use our health to catalog another Curia book. And we can use our core to catalog another baronial book. And then while those are working, we'll go ahead and start our core doing some manual labor at the Sweet Bones. There's not much work on offer in Brankrug, but I can find 6p worth of odd jobs. And I think that's probably a good point to end things, and we'll pick up here on the next video. Thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and give me a subscribe or drop a comment down below. And I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me.